First generation Mini Cooper R53. This is a 2006 Cooper S supercharged, and this video is going to talk about some exterior upgrades, aesthetic things that I think really clean up the look of this car. So I've got 7 things, and it just so happens that the combination cost of all 7 of these things is about $700. So not a lot to pay for some upgrades. My goal was not to make the car look super aftermarket. Rather, it was just to try to enhance the 20-year-old look with some things that became or would make it look a bit more modern. So if you're watching this video and you know cars and styles and how things have changed and evolved, you can probably notice a few things that have been done to it to kind of keep up with the modern look of cars, such as a lot of newer cars, particularly Hondas and Toyotas, have blacked out trim rather than it being chrome or metal colored, etc. So I didn't go crazy with some of these choices, like the color of the tint, the taillight upgrades, the badging. I didn't go too aftermarket, too dark, too tinted, whatever. I wanted it to be kind of OEM looking, but just so this looks a little less like a car that's 20 years old, while it still does retain that styling. It just doesn't look out of place, in my opinion. So 7 things. The first thing I'll talk about, and I will link all these in the description once I dig up all that data. So that should be there about the time of the video. First thing's hood stripes. So you can get hood stripes on cars. You know, there's 1,000 different options. I went with the Union Jack, and this car did come with a option from the factory. Had some, you know, they were matte black hood stripes, similar to this, except they weren't the flag. It was just a plain black strip. And they were pretty faded, and in addition to wanting to replace them because they were faded, I also wanted to just add a little style. The crazy thing is this is a German car. It's actually not a British car, but with the British heritage of the Mini before it was acquired by the Germans, I thought it was neat and would honor that by getting these Union Jack stripes. So you can pick those. Again, there's 1,000 options for hood stripes. You can have them go down the center. You can have 1, you can have 2, you can have them do this. This is more the factory OEM look, with the exception of adding the flag, the British flag. And you might notice too, it looks different either side, and that's intentional. If you look at the Union Jack British flag, that is how it looks. So I went with the flat black matte look to accent all the other flat black on the car. And so that'd be my first thought, is hood stripes. Next one is side stripes. So you can see these Cooper S side stripes. All these can be obtained pretty inexpensively, $50 for the hood stripes-ish. It was like $42 or something like that plus tax. Same about for this. And I've applied a ton of vinyl, so it's not hard to do. And there's a few little mistakes in there, but for the most part, it came out really clean. If you ever do this, you always want to tuck it under the plastic trim rather than come up to it. So you want to leave an extra ½ inch, and same thing here. You want to leave an extra ½ inch so you can wrap around rather than it looking not looking clean. So you can see that looks nice and clean. That goes right up under the trim, etc. But I just think these add a nice distinctive look. And again, this is $50 or less aftermarket. Apply yourself. So number 1 is the hood stripes. Number 2 is the side stripes. Third thing is the tail lights. And I went with these Union Jack taillight upgrades. These were about $200. There are a million variations of these. Not a million, but probably 100. 20-year-old car, so there's a ton of people who've made these. I mean, you can get smoked, you can get clear, you can get red. You can get simple, you can get non-simple, you can get halogen, you can get LED. It's just crazy. So I just looked at a bunch and just picked my favorite and found a set. And I'll show you kind of how these look. Really nice LED pattern. I don't know if the frame rate's going to pick this up, but it does have the Union Jack. Of course, when you hit the brake light, which I won't demonstrate, but you can get an idea of what that looks like. And it has a really neat sequence too when you first start the car, where it kind of slowly illuminates. And I believe that, you know, I think some newer Minis, don't quote me on this, but I think some newer ones actually have Union Jack taillights as a OEM option or a OEM standard thing. Don't know. In my opinion, that was one of the most dated parts of this car, was that the taillights just looked very 20-year-old. So I wanted to upgrade them, and I think it makes it look like a much more modern Mini Cooper. Not that that's the look I was going for. I don't care much for the modern Mini Coopers, but I think it looks really nice and it really fits in well with the look of the car overall. So that's number 3. And number 4 is just a window tint. This is a sort of obvious thing. I've got 35% on this car. That'll run you. I've got a good family-owned business here that does a window tint for like $280 on a small car like that with 3M tint, and just enhances the overall look of the car with a full window tint, all 5 windows. That's number 4. Number 5 would be just covering the chrome. And this is something you can go crazy on. I've seen people cover this, black this out, all the way with the front headlight surrounds. And to me, I didn't want to go too far, the grille. I just wanted to do some very subtle things. So in my case, the only things I've covered were, number 1, the door handles, and number 2, the filler cap. And those are really cheap. I mean, I think that was $20 for a set of those, and that was like $8 for a gas cover cap. And again, just little accents covering the chrome that kind of make the car look a little more modern with 2025 styling cues. Next one would be vinyl chrome, and vinyl chrome cover. And this is tape you can get. I found this on a website that specialized in mini parts. And again, it's subjective of how much chrome do you want to cover. You could black the whole thing out. I decided not to do that intentionally. I just want to do some things. So in this car, this entire strip was chrome all the way around the car. And this comes black from the factory. So I didn't think it matched well with this being black and that being chrome. So I got some tape, and this tape was like $8.99, and you get a roll. I only used half of it. And as you can see, it just perfectly fits. Something you can do in about 3 minutes, and covers the chrome. So again, a nice subtle chrome delete. And then the last thing I'll say in this video, number 7, again, I totaled the price for all 7 of these, and the 2 big ones were the tint and the taillights. Everything else is like $50 or less, but about $700 for everything. And the last thing I would say is just badging. And again, inexpensive. In my case, I did refresh the OEM front badge because it was very faded, and the rear badge, and those were $25-ish each, getting a mini part. But beyond that, when I say badging, I'm talking about things like this. A lot of folks add a JCW to their R53 just because they want to feel special. To me, I don't care that it's not a JCW. In fact, this is quicker and better than a JCW the way I've got it set up. Check my previous videos. But just little subtle things like that, I think that's cool. I think the red and black matches the car very much, the Manual Preservation Society, new badges here. So that's my last idea, just these aesthetic, inexpensive upgrades, little things like this antenna, stubby antenna instead of the big one that sticks up. Just little subtle things that give the car a little bit of a standout look from the way it came from the factory. That's it. 7 inexpensive aesthetic upgrades for the Mini Cooper R53. Hope this video finds you well. If you have others to add that enhance the look without going crazy, I'd love to hear them, and I would love to hear your thoughts on these. Again, I will make an effort to look up links for each of these and put them in the description for in case you want to buy any of those. So appreciate you watching. Hope this video finds you well. Peace. God bless you.